Oh my. This had better come on there. Yeah. When they were talking, the three of us were back there and we were saying that we still have time to run. I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for this. To get an award from the students is by far the best thing that can ever happen. Because you're the reason I get up in the morning. You're the reason why I have stayed here for 43 years. And so, this is the greatest honor that I could receive. Before I get into my talk, I need to thank my wife, Mary. She's here somewhere, I won't say where. Because to be truthful, I couldn't do this without her. The hours I put in, the number of students that have crossed our threshold and left that night or 2 nights or in one instance 7 years later. Yeah, he did. He lived with us off and on for 7 years, and our son is named after him. I couldn't do this without her. She's my rock, she's my, you name it. She's also the one that tells me to cut it out when I shouldn't do what I'm doing. So thank you, honey, I love you. So this is it. You're graduating in less than 3 weeks. And I'm retiring in a little bit longer than that. June 1st. And I'm not counting the days. Somebody asked me today how many days are in it. I don't know. But this isn't about me, it's about you. And it's for you. I've been known to offer students, advice to students or advice to whomever. Sometimes it's asked for. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes what I say is appreciated, sometimes it's not. You see, I kind of grew up here. I started here at the ripe old age of 24. And during those 43 years, and you can do the math as far as how old I am, but during those 43 years, you people and the students that preceded you helped me grow up. They helped me realize what this is all about. Some students would say that I'm old. Some would say I'm experienced. Some would say other things. I did have one student last spring say, I want to take a course from you before you die. And then he said, I want to take your course because I hear you're not going to give any tests next year. And I said, come on along and find out. He didn't last long. So tonight I'm going to give you some advice. I'm going to give you something some things to think about, some things that you can mull over. And as you listen to me and as you listen to Greg and Paul, I hope that you will come to realize that because of the experiences you have had, because of the experiences we have had, this is truly a special place. And I hope that this place is always special in your heart. So, with that, my talk's divided into 2 parts. And the talk is centered on the fact that following graduation, you're going to be looking for two things. You're going to be looking for a job, and you're going to be looking for a vocation. And they are not the same thing. Everybody says you got to get a job so you don't live in mom and dad's basement. Well, the job I'm going to talk to you about tonight is not that kind of job. And so that's the first thing. Let's talk about the job you're going to look for, and hopefully you will find. The first thing is I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to think about this in your head. And I was asked this question first back in 1990. And I was asked it by one of my Laoshers. That's Chinese for teacher. Because I was in China. I was on the term abroad, but I was also studying. And the Chinese physician asked me, when do you know it's morning? So think about it for a second. When do you can only give in your head one answer, one thing. When do you know it's morning? So take a second and think about that. My concept of morning, and the concept of morning that my Laoshi was talking about, is that you will know it's morning when each and every one of us on the face of this earth treats each other with respect and with love. You will know it's morning when each and every one of us on this earth treats each other with respect and with love. It will be when we overtly decide to love one another. It will be morning when we overtly decide to truly be our brother and sister's keepers, and that we will watch over them constantly. It will truly be morning when we decide that we as a country, we as an institution, we as a community, we as whomever decides that we will not tolerate anyone who does not treat their brother and sister with respect and love. That's unacceptable. Those of you who have ever taken a class from me, or those of you who have talked to me, and by talk I mean really talked, come into my office and sat, or come to our house and talked about life, and sometimes had a come to Jesus meeting with me. You know that sooner or later my conversation almost always rolls back to a text that I have read more and more times than I can ever imagine, and that every time I read it, it means more to me, and I get more out of it. It's that wonderful little text called Tuesdays with Maury. Now, some people don't think that's a very great text, but it speaks to me. And so I'm going to speak to you about it. Because of some conversations that I've had this year, I decided just in the last couple days to reread the book again. And here's what I've taken from this umpteenth reading of that text. The culture that we're living in right now, be that culture from the top or the bottom, depending upon how you look at life, is oftentimes the type of culture that does not make somebody feel good about themselves. Depending upon your politics, depending upon whatever, there's a lot going on today where people are disrespecting other people. We do it socially. We do it politically. We do it way too often. And you as people, you as college graduates, have to take a stand. You have to take a stand and you have to say, I am not going to buy it. And I'm going to work to change it. The only way our culture, the only way that we disrespect people, the only way that we don't love each other is because we, the collective we, tolerate it. And the only way it's going to change is if you and I say, hell no, we're not going to stand it anymore. Maury Schwartz says in Tuesdays with Maury, the way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others. Devote yourself to the community around you. Devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. Let me tell you that again. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others, to devote yourself to your community, and to devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. The way I interpret that short paragraph is you have to work to devote yourself to ending the darkness and bringing on and creating morning. And you might be saying, that's not easy to do. Well, guess what? It wasn't easy getting here, was it? It wasn't easy getting to be only 2 weeks and some days away from graduation. Anything that is worth having is worth struggling for. And so I am asking you to struggle, to work hard, to bring morning to this world, to bring morning to your life. And as Maury goes on on that same page, he goes on and he says, the most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and let love come in. Maury then goes on to say, we think we don't deserve love. And I've heard that from some of you. We think we don't deserve love. We think that if we let it in, we'll become soft inside. But Maury goes on to say, love is the only rational act. Love always wins. Now I want you to do another short mental exercise. For whatever reason you voted for the three of us, I want you to think, why? Why did you vote for us? And maybe you didn't. But why did you vote for whomever you voted for? What qualities do the three of us demonstrate to you? What qualities do your other favorite professors demonstrate to you? Realize that none of us here are perfect. But yet, we have to, and I'm using the collective we have to understand how a single interaction, no matter how great or how small, can make or break a person's life. I'm not talking day, I'm talking life. We need to treat each other with every encounter, every single day, as if the person you meet has a sign around their neck, and that sign says, "Make me feel that you value my existence." Make me feel that I matter to you. Not doing that has profound negative effects. Treating somebody without love, treating somebody without respect, can ruin their life for a very, very long time. And I apologize to Steve because every time I do this, Steve never repeats it verbatim, so he knows what's coming. But I have been blessed. I had 3 Mauries in my life. And any of you who have taken a course from me has seen on my course information sheet this phrase: nobody will give a damn what you know until they know you give a damn. That's just another way of saying what Maury says. You have to treat somebody with respect. And believe it or not, I do read things other than Tuesdays with Maury. As was said, I've been a member of the Asian Studies faculty, and the first time I went to Asia was in 1989. And there are 2 phrases from the 14th Dalai Lama that speak to me about this. The Dalai Lama says this: there are only 2 days in the year where nothing can be done. Think about that. There are only 2 days in the year when nothing can be done. One is called yesterday, and the other is called tomorrow. Today is the day to truly live, believe, do, and most importantly, love. And then the Dalai Lama goes on and he says, whether you believe in God or not does not matter so much. Whether you believe in Buddha or not doesn't matter so much. If you're Buddhist and you don't believe in reincarnation, that doesn't matter so much. You must lead a good life. And a good life does not mean good food, good clothes, good shelter. For those are not sufficient. But good motivation is what is needed. Compassion. Compassion without dogmatism, without complicated philosophy. Just understanding that everyone else is your human brother and sister, and you must respect their rights and their dignity. The second task I'm challenging you with ties around the word vocation. You must find your vocation. And before I came here, I was up at the dollhouse at Steve and through a reception, and I got to reconnect with some former students. People that are living their vocations. In the word vocation has its root in the word vocare, which means to call. I was called to this place. I was called to this vocation. I was called to you. And if I had it to do all over again, by God, I would. You too have to find your calling. Vocation doesn't mean a goal that you pursue. It means a calling that you hear. So you've got to choose your vocation not from willfulness, but from listening. Before you can say what you want to do with your life, you must listen to what your life is telling you. One of the former students that I talked with last night, nickname is B-Ray. And to hear Bridget talk, my God, she loves what she does, and she teaches and she writes, and it's just contagious. She was called to do that. you will find your calling. And then you will get up in the morning and you will say, hot damn, I get to go to work. Yeah, it will. May seem hard to believe, but it will. You listen and you choose your vocation by the truth and the values that are at the heart of your personal identity. And not by some standards that you choose to live by. Because there will be some of you sitting here who will choose a vocation and your parents will go, oh my God, you're going to do what? That's what my mother said. Till the day she died, she wanted to know when I was going to be a real doctor. But I knew this is what I wanted to be. I knew this is where I wanted to be. So let me give you some clues so that you know what to listen for. William James is an American philosopher, and he said human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. So think about the why you choose a vocation. And never think about what do you want to get out of life. That's the wrong question. Never ever ask, what do I want to get out of life? Think about what you want to put into your life. Do for others. Volunteer. Donate time. Donate talent. Do something for others. Do something for the betterment of your community. Do something for the betterment of your society. Do something for the betterment of the world. And as you do that, you are doing something that is for the betterment of you. That's what a vocation does. Believe in yourself and believe in others. If somebody says, you can do this, believe them. If you find that vocation, if you find that thing, then every day is like walking into a bakery and smelling fresh cooked bread. That sensation that just makes you go, yes. That's what that gift gives you. And finally, it's a way too big a world out there to compete with everybody else. So don't bother. The only thing you need to do is make sure that tomorrow you're a better person than you were today. And the day after that, you're a better person than the day before that. Those are the two things that I'm challenging you with today. Do your job. Make morning come, and then listen and choose your vocation. So I'm going to close with a couple thoughts. Anybody who's ever gotten an email from me, you know that I have a poem in the signature panel. And boy, does this tell the truth. And it's a poem that is adapted from Marva Collins. And it goes like this. I am a teacher. A teacher is someone who leads. There is no magic here. I do not walk on water. I do not part the sea. I just love my students. Second, please, please, please stay in touch. Please don't forget us. And I guarantee you, we're not going to forget you. Speaking for myself, I've got an alumni distribution list that is growing every day, and it's got more students on there than I can count. You want to be on that list? Email me. You'll get added. Share your joys with us. Share your angst, your sorrow, your frustrations with us. and we'll do the same with you, I guarantee it. But please, do not lose touch with us. And finally, one of my favorite verses in the Bible that I think speaks to the coming of morning, as I define it, and speaks to vocation, comes from the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8. He has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and walk humbly with your God? And by God, I held it together. Thank you very, very much for this honor.